As you can see, the headlights are not bright at all. This is on high. This is the best it gets. So by installing relays, it basically takes the voltage off of your wiring system and allows the battery to run it more efficiently, which should cause your headlights to be brighter. So we're going to install some relays and see if it makes any difference. Let's get started. Every car is going to be different. So this is not going to be exactly like yours. Everything I'm doing, of course, this is on a 70 Maverick. Depending on what you're working on, it's going to be slightly different, but the wiring procedure is pretty much the same. So we had to gather a couple of things from the parts store to make this work. It's very simple to understand. Let's go look at the parts and we'll see what we got. Okay, so what we have here is two relays. One of them is going to control the high beam, and the other one is going to control the low beam. The way they're configured, you'll want to get a 4-pin relay. You're going to have your switches, your pins on the back. It's going to look like this. This is the kind you want to get. You're going to have a pin that's labeled number 30, number 86, 87, and 85. That's the pins you want to use. You also want to get you an inline fuse. Go with 30 amp, since these are headlights, and put that in your hot wire. That way if it gets too hot or overheats, it won't burn your car down. So here's the notes on it, and this is pretty much going to be the same for your car. Once we get these mounted inside the engine bay, you can mount them anywhere you want, but you'll want to get the best results, you'll want to mount them as close to the battery as possible, because that hot wire that comes off the battery and goes into this, you want that to be as short as you can possibly get it. The shorter it is, the more current you're going to be able to get to your headlights. This is going to make it to where the current does not have to go through the headlight switch inside the car. And then what we're going to do next is find the headlight high beam and low beam wires. The high beam is going to go to pin 87. And then the other side of that is going to go to pin 86 coming from the switch. So that'll take care of the high beam. Now the low beam on your other solenoid, you're going to wire it up the same exact way, except you're going to find the low beam wire and cut it and splice it in here. This is basically going to be a switch. It's going to pull all the power from the battery and save it from having to go through all your wiring circuitry inside your car. Then of course we've got different variations of wire, different thicknesses. We've got some 10 gauge, 14 gauge. You want to stay pretty heavy duty on this because you want as much current as possible running through here. And as always, the first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery. So after careful consideration, I've decided to mount these on the shock tower supports. It's going to kind of go like that right there. So that's the way they're going to look when they're mounted. I'm going to go ahead and take them back off since they fit good, and we're going to start doing a little bit of wiring. Alright, now that we kind of know where we're going to have our relays, we're going to go ahead and do the easiest connection first, which is going to be the hot wire going to the hot side of the solenoid. And the solenoid on a Ford is right there. It's usually in the same place. The hot fused wire is going to connect to terminal number 30. And we're going to put a 30 amp inline fuse in that just for safety reasons. So it's going to connect right there to the hot side of the solenoid, which is the left, the left little knob there. And we're going to, there's our fuse, and we're going to use a 10 gauge wire. Now what you'd want to do is go ahead and measure the wire that you need for each connection. Try to have the wire the same length for both relays. That way the amperage hopefully will stay about the same. Okay, so here's our relay again, and here's the connector that I made. Got a 30 amp inline fuse. This is going to connect to the relay, the battery terminal. And according to the directions, the hot goes to number 30, which is on the bottom, right there. Alright, we've got our power from the battery going down to the fuse and then up to the relay. The other relay will be sitting right here. I just have it out now for simplicity, but this other power from the battery will go right here. We also need a ground wire, so I made this. The ground is going to be shared by both, so I just simply did that. Plug into both relays, and then this will be mounted to probably the solenoid or wherever. Anything that bolts to the frame or the inner fender will work fine. Alright, with both relays back in, we have the ground wire on both, which is 85, and then for number 30 terminal we have the power. Power, of course, connects to the solenoid on the battery side, that way it's hot. And the ground, I grounded it to this bolt right here that the solenoid stays on, because the solenoid has to be grounded also, so why not just go ahead and share the same ground. And I ran it down through here nice and neat, and then back up. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Depending on your car, you'll have to look it up and figure it out yourself, but we got terminal 87 and 86 left. One relay is going to control the low beams, and the other one is going to control the high beams. Now, in my situation, on a Maverick, the low beam wire coming from the switch going to the headlights is red with a black stripe, and that's it right there. I confirmed it by using the tester, and I confirmed it again by once I cut it, I turned on the headlights, put them on low, and the lights did not work. So that is the low beam headlight. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a wire and go from here over to the switch, and it'll be number 86. That's what we're going to hook it up to, because that is from the switch. And then what we'll do is take the other side of the wire and go to pin 87 on the same relay. Alright, we got everything wired up. We have the low beam switch and relay installed, and also the high beam relay. This is really kind of an easy thing to do, but it's really confusing. Until you get your head wrapped around what you're actually doing, you're kind of going to be confused. So, and this is the way it looks over here. I'll come back later and tie that up with tape, make it watertight. But basically what we're doing is taking the high and low beam wire that comes off the switch inside the cab of the car. So we're finding the high and low beam, finding those wires, cutting them in half, running one side to the relay, and then from the relay we're running back to that same wire we cut and hooking up to the side that goes to the headlights. Now before we cut it, the whole wire went straight to the headlights. After we cut it, we basically made it to where we could put a switch in between that wire. Now what that'll do, from the way I understand it, is these old cars were wired pretty bad. The reason the headlights were always dim was because most of the electricity that went to the headlights had to travel through all these wires, go through a switch inside the cab, and then come back out to the headlights. And this allows all the juice to be pulled off the battery, and every single bit of that juice will be thrown into the headlights. So here's the final version. They are definitely brighter than what they used to be, that's for sure. Look at that. Before it didn't even black out the video, but now it does. Very bright. You can actually feel heat off of them. Also, the gauges are a lot brighter than they were. Looks pretty good. We get a really good look at how much brighter this is. Makes a difference. Over here on the left, we got a 72 Maverick. It's my son's. It has the stock headlights, no relays. Over here on the right is my 70 Maverick. We just did the relays in it. Both lights are on high, and we have both cars running. Okay, there's the 70 with relays. There's the one without relays. You can definitely tell a difference. From this view, there's the 72 with no relays. Still pretty bright. Here's the 70 with relays.